أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Inshallah everyone's doing well. Alhamdulillah, we've had a good Wednesday, good day at university. We all studied hard, whatever we did, or whether you've been working, studying. Alhamdulillah, we've got a variety today. Variety here today, mashallah. Look, I'm going to keep today short, sharp, and quick. Small reminders that you can actually apply to your life are better than just talking, but there's nothing that comes out of it. Inshallah, so today we're going to be talking about a very important Islamic principle, and that is the principle of Haqq. And let's make this an interactive discussion, inshallah. So what does Haqq mean? Right. Okay. Who has a right over you right now in your current life? Parents, number one. Who else? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you're married, your wife. Yes? Depends on your situation, but rights. A lot of us are under this false presumption that we have our time to ourselves. Yeah? That our time belongs to us and that we can do whatever we want with it. But that's not Islamic understanding, that's a Western understanding. Your time does not belong to you. It belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It doesn't belong to you. You don't have ownership over it. You see? By believing that you've got ownership over your time, you've already made a false assumption. Because now you think you're entitled and you think you deserve to live your life in the way that you want to live your life. But there are always going to be rights that you have to fulfill for others, no matter who you are. At a university stage, at our stage, right? What does it look like? It means, for example, your parents, whether you like it or whether you don't like it, they have a right over you. Whether they're oppressors or not, they have a right over you. Whether they're good to you, they're bad to you, they have a right over you. The only time you don't listen to what they say is if they're telling you to go against fundamental Islamic principles and to literally khalaf al-sharia, literally go against sharia law. Other than that, you must listen to your parents. So if you're at university and you get a phone call from your mum or your dad and they say, hey, can you do this? You don't say, nah, I'm not going to do it. If you can't physically do it, you nicely, respectfully let them know. But remember, they've got a right over you, right? And they have a right over your time as well. And this is something that I think a lot of us youth, that we don't actually understand. Because if we understood it, our parents would all be happy with us, yeah? But unfortunately, a lot of the parents nowadays, they're not happy with their children. Why? Because the Rasul ﷺ says that there's going to come a time where, and I'm paraphrasing, but essentially, the parent is going to be a slave to the child, which is going to be the master. This is one of the signs of Yawm al-Qiyamah, one of the signs of Judgment Day, which is that the parents, instead of it being the other way, the parents are going to sort of assume their child to be the master. Now you see this nowadays. How many kids tell their parents what to do? How many parents are having hard lives because of their children? So many parents, right? Because the kid who's literally lived under his parents' household, received everything from his parents or her parents, now have this entitlement that they think that there's something special. They've got youth, they've got energy, maybe they're stronger and bigger, and now all of a sudden they think there's something special. But their parents, no matter who you become, your parents always are above. So they have a very special place, a very special right. Even when you get married, your parents have a very special right over you. It never disappears. As a man, it does not disappear in any way. It's always number one. Obviously, you have Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but your parents are always there, right at the top. Right? You're married, you've got your wife, but your parents are still there, even if you're married. Which is hence why, for example, if your parents get sick or ill, or they become of elderly age, do we send our parents to nursing homes? It's not nursing homes. Do we send them to elderly houses and places for them to go stay with them? Is that what we do? Or do we bring them in with us? We bring them in with us regardless. We're not the type, we don't have that in us to go send our parents somewhere else, to go be inculcated with Western values. That's not in our identity as Muslims, and we don't adhere to that. We don't conform to that. We do not support that, and we're never going to do that. Even if it means we go bankrupt, we'll spend on our parents. We don't hold back on our parents. So that's number one. Parents. They have a right over you. They have a right over your time. Even if you don't like it, this is the reality of it. Work around it. Make it work. Because if you want barakah in your time, if you want barakah in your life, you need your parents by your side. You have to have your parents by your side. If your parents haven't given you rida, which is they're not content with your decision, don't go with that decision. You need your parents' contentment. A lot of young brothers, I want to go do this thing overseas. I want to study Sharia. I want to do this, but my parents are against me. Get your parents, work hard. Get your parents rida, get their contentment. Don't just go against them. Get your parents' contentment. I know many brothers who went overseas to study, overseas, Medina and in Jordan, different countries, right? And before they did that, they spent 1 year just trying to get their parents on board. And a lot of us, we can't persuade our parents in one conversation, and so we go against our parents. But some people spend years just trying to win their parents' love, because if you win your parents' rida, everything in your life is going to be easy. But if they're always on the fence and they're not happy with you, and you know when your parents are not happy with you, deep down they're not happy, they're not truly content, you're not going to have barakah in your life. When you're looking for marriage, you're going for a certain sister. If your parents haven't given you their blessing, good luck trying to have a barakah marriage, a marriage full of barakah. Work, persuade them, change their minds every single day. If it takes you a year, go for it. This is the amount of tenacity and hard work you need to put in. Because remember, our parents have a haqq over us. That's number one. Number two, we're talking about just direct family now. Okay, your family, your siblings, everyone in your immediate familial circle, right? They have a haqq over you. Doesn't matter who they are. Your younger brother, younger sister, older sister, cousins. They might not necessarily have a strong haqq, but it's important that we maintain family ties in Islam. It's a very, very important thing. What does Western society teach us? Isolate yourself, live your own life, forget about the rest. True? Just live your own life. Get your own car, get your own insurance, and dip. Don't worry about anyone. Go live on a farm and, that's it. But in reality, the harder path is to go back to your family, to your community, and to win them over with love, and to win them with da'wah, and to make them strong Muslims. Or you can go live your own life. Which one's harder? It's winning your family, every single person. I know of a certain brother, for example, mashallah, he was very, very well known in the community and very beautiful brother, very close to me, one of my mentors. He, spent a decade winning his family over. How? Why? They were filled with a lot of cultural values, cultural assumptions. For example, who he should marry. For example, the type of life. They called him extreme, and so on and so forth. But he was following the sunnah, right? Following the sunnah. And what he did was he won every single person. He made a list of every single name, every single person, and he won them over with what? He won them over with love. He won them over with love. That's what he did. Every person, okay, my cousin, my relationship with that person is not that good. Auntie, it's a bit iffy. Every person, one by one, tick, 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 and won them over. How many of us are doing that nowadays? Winning our family over, building love with them. Oh, auntie's weird, don't worry about her. Cousin, forget about it, it's my cousin, I can just distance. These people, I'll just travel overseas and I don't need to worry about anyone. What did the Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam do when his uncle, was against him? Did he just say, yeah, whatever? He tried to win everyone with love. And obviously sometimes you can't. But that's number two, your siblings have a right over you. If they need financial support and you can provide, you give it. If they need your time, you give it. It doesn't matter. Number three, community. Even if you think my family is all set, you're not exempt. You have a community to support. If you're in Melbourne or in any of our Western countries, you need to provide for the community. You're either volunteering. This is an obligation, right? It's a fard kifaya. It's something that we all as a community, we have to fill. There's gaps we need to fill. We need to provide for our communities, right? Does that mean this mus, for example, if you can help, whatever you can do, you need to give. This is a community. This is our Islamic community over here, right? Up where you live, the local masjid, starting projects and programs to solve problems in the community. Everyone needs to be doing something. There's no such thing as I live my own life. It doesn't exist. It's not Islamic. Yeah, your life is connected with the community. You can't separate yourself from community. You need to be part of community. And if there's a problem with community, work to solve it instead of criticizing it. Everyone can sit on a chair and say, oh, this initiative is bad. This person's this. Go solve it. Yallah, show us. Go do something about it. If you're going to criticize, take some action. Don't just talk. Act. Do things. Volunteer. Sacrifice from your time. Put yourself last. Yeah? We are nothing. We're simply servants of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So those are the three. What was it? Parents, family, and community. Yeah? But now we move beyond that. Let's say we've got all those sorted out. Then you've got amanas and responsibilities that extend beyond. For example, you work in a certain workplace. That environment has a haqq over you. The people there, you need to treat them well. Your neighbors at home, there are a lot of shurut and conditions. I know of a man, whenever he cuts his lawn, he always makes sure he cuts the lawn of his neighbors. A small little gesture in a very anti-Muslim environment that made them all like Muslims. That's the best example of da'wah through. You could go speak to him about Islam for 10 hours, they're not going to listen. But cutting his lawn, that's it. You won him over. That's all it took. It's a bit of, an extra 2 minutes. That's all it took, right? So, for example, treating your neighbors better. For example, if you're involved in teaching or tutoring or anything like that, your students, yeah? They give you a phone call at any time of the day, any time of the night. As a Muslim, you need to pick up. That's your student. You're mentoring them. If you're going to mentor someone, and you chose to mentor them, guess what? You've now signed up to a life of your times for them. None of this, my personal life, my barrier, all this. No. You're mentoring someone, live up to the expectation. If you're not willing to do that, don't mentor. You need to give them your time. You're going to be a parent, you're going to be a father or a mother. That's a life of your time for them. That's it. Your child needs something, you're there. If you're not happy with that, don't sign up to it. Right? Because this is literally the responsibility. You see, everyone loves the benefits, but no one likes the responsibility. Everyone loves the haram relationship because there's no responsibility. No one likes marriage because there's a responsibility of providing and giving and spending and sacrificing your whole life. No one likes fatherhood because now you're going to have to deal with every single situation and every single problem in that child's life. And you need to be there. Everyone wants to get the title of, I'm the CEO of this company, but who wants to deal with the nitty-gritty logistics? No one wants to deal with that. Everyone wants to be known as something, but who wants to live up to the day-to-day? You see? Part of being a leader, part of being a Muslim that leaves a legacy and leaves an impact is you have to. Assalamu alaikum. No worries, guys. Part of being a Muslim that leaves a legacy is you have to be willing to live up to the day-to-days. You have to be willing to accept the responsibility that comes with your role. And this is a big fitna that we face in these societies. Because everyone wants to get a good LinkedIn profile. Everyone wants to become employable. Everyone wants to look like they're doing something special for the community. But who's actually sacrificing? Who's actually giving up? Not a lot of people. But everyone's got a fancy title. But when it comes to we need you right now, I can't show up, I'm busy. So this is why in Islam we learn about this concept of putting aside status, being comfortable being anonymous, giving when no one sees you. It doesn't have to be linked to your name or your brand or your identity. Why do you have to think you're so special? Why don't we realize that we're not special? Why don't we give because you have to give? You see, so these are questions we have to ask ourselves. So in the process of providing our haqq to others, don't forget that don't let the disease of reputation get in the way. I will help someone as long as I'm on the camera and I get posted. But if there's no cameras around, I ain't going to help no one. Be the person that helps everyone that no one even identifies. No one even knows, who's this person, Because Allah knows. Why do you need the people to know when Allah knows? So these are some key takeaways. Just remember, your time does not belong to you, okay? And that when you do have time, when you can give, you're always going to have gaps, give. If it means when you're driving back, give a little phone call to someone that needs it, responding back to a message. Don't leave people on red for weeks and months. Respond back. They have a haqq over you. You see, there's always these little things that we forget about. As long as you sort these little things out, this is your jihad. Jihad al-nafs. You, inshallah, will all live lives on Sirat al-Mustaqim. Wa jazakumullahu khairan.